Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and the maintenance notice has dropped. The patch notes are here, so let's dive into all the details for the upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever update. Keep in mind, this is a full update, so there will be maintenance. As you can see there, it's going to happen about 10 hours and 56 minutes from the time of me recording this, and the maintenance is going to last a whopping like 9-10 hours. It goes from 4 p.m. to midnight Pacific time. Which is 3 a.m. So it's 7 p.m. Eastern time to 3 a.m. Eastern time. Very, very late for people in North America, but perfect for people in Europe and Asia. So that's great. I will be live here on YouTube. So just to let you guys know, we are sort of moving the MFF update live streams from Twitch over to YouTube. If you guys want, you can also check out the join button that's now live on my channel, which gives you basically all of the same perks and features as subscribing did on Twitch, but over on YouTube. Yes, this is a little bit of self-promotion. I know it feels awkward because I never do it on this channel, but if you click this button, it won't cost you a penny, and you'll even see a funny / cringy video of me explaining what YouTube memberships are. There's a quick little sneak peek of that there. But yeah, without further ado, let's dive into the patch notes. So what are we getting? We're getting one brand new hero, M'Baku, who unfortunately is getting the Katie / Wenwu treatment. He does not appear to have a tier 3 or a transcendence. We're getting new uniforms for Namor as a supervillain, and then Shuri as a hero, and Riri Williams, Ironheart as a hero as well. I'm not going to go into too much depth on these looks here, but I do want to briefly go through them and talk to you guys about everything that I see. So M'Baku is going to be a paywall character, but you can get him for free at 1 star through the legendary battle, and you don't have to buy the extreme version of the legendary battle. So he's like a free paywall. It's very weird, but you get him at 1 star, so you'd have to use mega rank up tickets and stuff. He's got a generic 30% attack leadership. He's got generic, all defense, skill damage, bonus damage. He does have a support passive, so he immediately becomes a good support hero. So identical to Shuri, where he increases damage to villains and he decreases damage that you receive from villains, and he applies to all allies, so you can use it to buff your allies who are heroes or villains. So he does have utility right out of the gate with a leadership / support, and his skills are decent, damage increase, immunity, paralysis, snare, fracture. He could be a good striker for Alliance Battle Legend, invincibility, a 100% damage proc, 25% heal, and accumulation. He has all the bells and whistles that can make him a very strong character. However, 2 big things missing for M'Baku: no uniform, so no stat bump, extra stats, and no tier 3 or transcendence. A lot of people are assuming, or hoping, I should say, speculating, that he's going to get a transcendence in the mid-month or a tier 3 in the mid-month with Okoye or something like that. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. There's no sign of that yet, but hopefully. As far as Namor's uniform, it does look very spicy. The key thing that I want you to take away from this is that not only is he a supervillain now, but his damage is changing to being cold damage. So Namor is now moving from a fire elemental character to a cold elemental character. This is a really big bonus for players who had a CTP of Judgment on him, because you could just keep it on him. You're not going to have to take it off. However, Rage might still be the best for him, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, he's getting buffs to his ultimate ability with an accumulation on it, which is very nice. He's getting, just more stats, more all defense, more damage reduction, more crit damage, more guaranteed crit rate. He's also getting more sort of meta abilities. He finally gets a heal. He gets a 2-second immunity with a 4-second cooldown, so you can spam Hydro Tornado to get that heal every 4 seconds, which also has a snare. He also has fracture. Again, these are important for Alliance Battle Legend. And then he also has a barrier that he keeps on Rage of the King, and then he gets invincibility and a very fat buff here that he had already, but 55% attack, 70% all defense. So quite nice from the King of Atlantis. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what. Yes, it's Atlantis. What that brings for Shuri. Not not a Black Panther uniform. Whatever. Presuming the rumors are true. But yeah, these uniform effects do look very good. And like we were saying, she needs a huge step up from her last uniform, which was back in 2018. Super armor all defense, skill damage, bonus damage, 15% chain hit, 35% ignore dodge. The the passive buffs that she gets, the support buffs just get increased. So now she gives 55% increased damage to villains and 40% damage reduction, which is very nice. She gets silence, fracture, burn, shock, and paralysis. And remember, on her 5th skill, she has burn, shock, and paralysis all in one. Very nice for you guys that are into ABX, ABL. She's got a 30% heal now. She's got a frenzy buff with immunity. She's got another 40% attack buff. So lots of buffs for her. Also an 80% damage proc. Could be very, very spicy for Shuri to make her a dealer, like a damage dealer, as well as still being a good support. And then Riri Williams, pretty interesting. Also seems like she's retaining a lot of the support stuff, gaining new support stuff, but also having their own damage, having her own, big damage increase. So her uniform effect is for all allies. It gives them ignore, dodge, and increased damage dealt to boss types. So this is very similar, arguably better than Sif's uniform passive, because the ignore dodge is better than the all speed. So that is quite nice. And again, it applies to all allies, so heroes, villains, whatever. Her leadership is for blast types, 55% increased energy attack. So be careful, not physical attack. So War Machine doesn't benefit from that. There's a few, not many, but there's a few. And then her passive gives her chain hit and guard break immunity. So she could be decent for Alliance Conquest, probably not for PvP like Timeline Battle, Alliance Tournament. She gets guaranteed dodge, skill damage, bonus damage. She gets stun, well, whatever. Silence, paralysis, shock. Not bad, not bad. She gets a V-pad skill, which I'm most happy about. I love V-pad skills so much. She gets an accumulation with invincibility. She also gets a 5-second immunity. She gets a 20% heal and a frenzy buff. No damage proc to pass, but that's the only thing she's really missing that's very meta these days. So yeah, they all look very good. I think the only tragedy here is M'Baku not getting an upgrade just yet, but we'll hold out hope that he will later. I do not want him to become Wenwu and Katie. And then Shuri's tier 3, she gets accumulation here with penetration and 12 seconds of invincibility. And you see Bast. This was the name of the Panther god that I could not remember in the other video, Bast. So you do see Bast in her tier 3, which a lot of people have taken to mean she's going to get a synergy uniform and become the Black Panther because, yeah, part of the Black Panther's powers are inherited from Bast kind of thing, So we'll have to wait and see. It's very cool. But this does echo what one of Black Panther's abilities looks like in Marvel's Avengers, where he summons Bast. Very, very cool. So really glad that they did that. Very iconic for the Black Panthers and Shuri and Black Panther, and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, I would wish it would be really cool if they gave Black Panther a uniform and they changed his tier 3 to be another Bast. Like an even bigger one or a different one or whatever. I think that would be dope. Anywho, Namor tier 4. Check this out. Increases active buff by 20%. The buff effect. Remember all those buffs he gets on his tier 3 and his 5th skill? Those get bumped up by 20%. Yeah. And then increases his chain hit by 50%. This is very reminiscent of Shang-Chi's tier 3 skill, where he gives himself 90% chain hit damage. Very, very spicy. This puts Namor firmly in the driver's seat for, the most OP combat supervillain for PvE content. He doesn't seem to have any PvP trimmings or fixings or sort of abilities, and that's sort of where they pushed Carnage and Hulk. And then we get the awakening for Riri Williams and Moon Girl. I was confused about this because I saw Devil Dinosaur in one of Riri Williams' skills. It's their awakening skill. So they get awakening skill together, all three of them, Riri, or Moon Girl, Ironheart, and Devil Dinosaur, which I think is really cute. And apparently they had a comic series together, so that's nice. The only thing I don't like, because this looks very reminiscent of Rescue and Rescue and Hulkbuster's Transcendent skill, where there's like a line in the middle and their faces are on each side. The only thing I'm disappointed is that there's no uniform for Moon Girl. I know it's not a Moon Girl update. I know she's not in Wakanda Forever. I hope they give Moon Girl a uniform like by the end of the year or something. Then we have a legendary battle, Wrath of the Sea. So keep in mind these legendary battles are not spoiler containing. They don't have any spoilers. They're just based on the trailers for the movie, but don't play it if you don't want to see what are in the trailers, basically. You get a 1-star M'Baku from this legendary battle, and then you can also purchase the Extreme Legendary Battle, as with all the other ones, for 2,500 crystals. You get 500 crystals refunded, so you're basically looking at a net cost of 2,000 crystals for all of these rewards. I will say, besides M'Baku, this is probably the most disappointing part of the patch notes. I think that this legendary battle, I mean, this looks really cool. Namor looks really dope. This looks cool. The rewards do not look cool. 200 awakening crystals is like kind of whatever. A 6-star comic card that's just a regular comic card is whatever. 4-star artifact for Shuri is nice, but it's not even a support artifact. It's only for Shuri. So, and she's not tier 4, so I would have rather like Namor's artifact or something like that. The second potential realization ticket is nice, but it only saves you a maximum of 3 days. So it's not, you know, it's not that valuable. The icon for Riri Williams is cool. Again, it's an icon. And then a CTP of Destruction. This one doesn't really make sense to me. It should be a CTP selector by now. I don't know why they're not doing that. But if it's not a CTP selector, it should be one of the top 3 most popular CTPs. And right now, the most popular CTP in the game is Rage. And they're actually introducing Rage Reforging, as you can see right here. So it was a perfect time to just put a CTP of Rage here. So yeah, I'm not really happy with the Legendary Battle. I think it's the one thing that they could definitely improve. But I would not expect them to improve it. Don't hold your breath. They never change the rewards for these things. They're basically set in stone. So yeah, I'm still going to buy the Legendary Battle because I want to have all the rewards and stuff. But it's probably going to be a skip for most players, which is good because you need to save your crystals for Black Friday. And Legendary Battles don't get discounted anyways. So yeah, as far as the final 2 CTPs here being reforged, there is still one CTP that we can't reforge, the CTP of Insight. But now we finally have Rage Reforging. I was going to make a joke about the egg, but yeah, you can now reforge the egg. Very interesting abilities for both of these reforgings. The Rage gets increased crit damage, which will go over the cap no matter what for any character. So this is very, very cool. It makes a lot of characters that have the crit damage increase, like Sabretooth, Psylocke, potentially more powerful. And it also makes characters like Doctor Strange and Shang-Chi, who just make use of a Rage really well, potentially even more powerful. So I was waiting for this. A lot of people were scared that this was going to be way too OP, but it seems to be quite balanced. You know, crit damage can definitely be good, but it doesn't work by itself, and this also doesn't make every character good with a Rage, because you still need to activate the Rage proc with a critical attack, and that is very difficult to do if you do not have guaranteed critical crit rate. So I like that they've balanced it that way. The buff here goes from 80% all the way up to 130%. So if you slap a Brilliant Rage on a character that has 200% crit damage, and this procs, the Enrage proc, he will bump that 200% up to 330%. That's going to get very nutty when you then stack it on top of the existing characters' buffs like Namor, Betsy, Sabretooth, etc., who have that increased crit damage even higher than the cap. They'll go up to like 400% crit damage. Very, very nice. So yeah, as far as the egg goes, actually pretty interesting. It doesn't get guard break immunity, so it's still relegated to very specific characters, but now it gets a pretty fat heal. Recovers 15% of your HP every second for 5 seconds, and it's an 8-second cooldown. That's really strong. That's not bad at all. For characters that already have guard break immunity, that's not bad at all. And that's the Vitality proc. And that Vitality proc on a Brilliant Egg, and again, I don't know who's going to want a Brilliant Egg. This is like ultra hilarious whale territory. It's going to proc 25% heal for 6 seconds every 7 seconds. That's pretty crazy. So I'm gonna try to procure myself an egg so I can do some testing. But this should be pretty funny for PvP with specific characters that have guard break immunity. It's not going to be, you're not going to be able to slap it on any old character, because getting guard broken and guard broken locked and like stuck in that stun animation forever is death for any character, no matter how much HP and healing you have. But yeah, pretty interesting here. I like to see this. It does, you know, balance the CTPs a little bit more. And then we have something that a lot of people have misinterpreted, the comic card deck. So just like we have multiple team slots, we are now getting multiple deck slots. So you're going to have 2 different decks. I'm going to be very careful with the way I say this. You can unlock the second deck with 1,000 crystals. And then what you can do is you can equip 5 different cards to that second deck. You cannot equip the same cards because the effects of deck 1 and deck 2 do not stack. But you can switch between the decks depending on the content. You can also automatically have it apply to specific content. So in this example, let's say your first 5 cards, your first deck is all PvE focused. Lots of attack, you know, crit damage, crit rate, whatever. And then your second deck of 5 cards is PvP focused, so lots of HP, all defense, etc. So you could set the first one for the PvE content like World Boss, Shadowlands, Story Mode, and then you could set the second deck to PvP game modes like Timeline, Battle, and Alliance Conquest. So this is really cool because it allows you more customization. It's not really cool, it's cool because it allows you more customization. However, a lot of people have been misinterpreting this and saying, oh my god, you're going to be able to get 50% Pierce now? This is so broken, this is only for whales. That's not how it works. The decks do not stack, and like I said, you can't even equip the same card in both decks. So if you have the White Fox card on your first deck, you cannot equip the White Fox card on your second deck. And then, yeah, so the way that I see this, there's 3 ways that players are going to use this. 1, players are just going to ignore this. Straight up, they're just going to be like, my cards are good enough now, I don't really care. Or, I'm still working on my first deck, I don't have time to think about a second deck, bye-bye. And that's a fair analysis. The second type of people are literally the opposite. They're whales. They're going to buy this, and they're going to min-max. They're going to make a perfect card set for PvE and a perfect card set for PvP. However, the number of players who are going to be able to do this is extremely small. So I saw a bunch of people panicking on Reddit, of course, saying, oh my god, Timeline Battle is going to get so much harder now because every opponent's going to have perfect PvP cards instead of some of them having a hybrid set like I do. No, that's not the case. First of all, there's way more players in PvP than you think, unless you're in Challenger, in which case you sort of know what you're getting. You're in the top 25. Second of all, the number of whales that are going to do this is being grossly overestimated. Not all whales relish in spending money just for the sake of spending money. I think there's like a misconception. Some whales are going to spend money on this for sure. Not all of them are. A lot of whales still make value judgments, and they sort of, consider, is this really going to, is an extra 10 or 20% HP really going to improve my odds? Because if you're a whale, you probably already have very good cards, like my cards, for example. Take a look at my cards here. I can switch to a PvP set for my deck too. It's not going to give me that much more HP. It's not like I'm going to go from 86 to 160. It's not going to double my HP. I can go to like 120, maybe 130 tops, right? So it doesn't actually add that much. And you still want some balance, because who knows, if you have too much HP and not enough attack, not enough pierce, whatever, it may still be detrimental. So I don't see this being a problem. I don't see people noticing it very much, except at very high levels. And again, if you're not a whale and you're at very high levels, just enjoy being there, man. It's cool. It's cool to be able to play with whales while not being one. As far as me and other content creators go, I don't want to tell you what to do, other content creators, if you're watching this, if you're listening, but I think this is a really cool, thing to add to the game, because now I can do a free-to-play card set. Yeah, just keep it simple, baby. I don't have to worry about whales. I don't have to worry about perfect PvE, perfect PvP. I'm just going to build a completely free-to-play set, and I'm just going to rock that set, and then I'll be able to do a showcase on a character using both sets. And then people who are like, well, Alex, I'm not sure if this character is good. He looks good with 25% pierce. She looks really OP because you have 80% HP. What about if you had 20% HP? And I'll be like, oh yeah? Check out my second deck. Boop. And then I'll switch to my second deck and we'll do a free-to-play review. So I think this is awesome. I think this is great. More customization and more choices for the players. I think that's always a big thumbs up. So yeah, that's the second deck thing. And that's basically what it is. We get the new artifacts for M'Baku, Namor, Shuri, Riri, and Moon Girl. Jeez, these are pretty uninspired. Ignore dodge. Ignore dodge. Ignore dodge. 3 out of 5 have ignore dodge. Yeah. And only M'Baku's is a support passive, so keep that in mind. Namor's is not bad. It increases damage dealt to boss types, but it just further solidifies that he's only for PvE. And then Shuri gets all attack, and Riri gets damage dealt to HP. The enemies with 50% HP or higher. So Riri could be good for ABX/ABL. We'll have to wait and see. We get the new Future Pass with these icons for Mystique and Human Torch. So a lot of people are like, Mutant Update, Fantastic Four update, Doctor Doom update. Very exciting to get the community speculating and get the juices flowing. I would love a Mystique update. She looks nice in that little animation there. We get the uniform collection, and then we get some content improvements to dimension missions where you can see how much time is left and you can see the progress even when it's on the power saving mode, which is very, very nice. You also get some status upgrades for the MVP, excuse me, so you can see who got it. Some stuff for selectors to show you who has upgrades available. And then they did a bunch of other stuff here, not too important for most players. They improved the look, the graphics on Jane Foster's uniform, and then they improved the text on Venom's Tier 4 Striker skill, so it's easier for players to understand. And then there's a bunch of game error fixes. Look at this. 16 game error fixes. Sheesh. That's what you like to see. These are the unsung heroes. The one that most people are going to start and end with is number 1. Hulk is finally getting changed. So brace yourselves for the glacial tear fest of players crying that they nerfed Hulk and that he's so bad right now. It's not going to be that bad. I'm not worried. But yes, Hulk is getting his Tier 4 adjusted. If you have a Tier 3 Hulk, nothing to worry about. You won't notice a thing. But yeah, and they're also changing the skill effects of Black Bolt's Tier 4 Striker skill because of how they interacted with Hulk. It says error fix number 1, which is Hulk. They're not actually making Black Bolt stronger. They're just rebalancing things. So yeah, those are the patch notes. I think it's a good patch. I think it's a good update. I don't think there's anything that really stands out as like, oh my god. But there's just a lot of solid things, and it's a very consistent update. With no major errors, major mistakes or pitfalls, and that's what I think we definitely needed for an MCU update. I think they could have been a little bit more adventurous with some of the buffs and some of the effects on the artifacts and stuff, and the future pass and the legendary battle. I feel like they were a little bit too cautious and a little bit too timid, but that's okay. I would probably give these patch notes a 7.5 out of 10, but that is pending the review of the characters and the uniforms. So yeah. Hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.